All right, well, welcome to It's Possible podcast again. Today is an amazing day. Briaina, please take a minute, introduce yourself, and tell the people what you have for them today.
Hi. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Wilkin, for having me on. My name is Brianna Latrice. I am an affair recovery coach. So I coach women who have been cheated on to remove the shame of their decision to leave or stay after infidelity. Both decisions will be hard, so I just come in and help you navigate your heart. And so I'm an affair recovery coach, an author, and on my way to becoming a licensed professional counselor. So I am super excited.
Amazing. So you say affair recovery.
Yes.
Why do
Yes.
they call it an affair?
That's a good question. I would have to actually look up the definition of affair. Should we do
Yeah.
that? Let's do that
You want to look
actually.
it up? Let me check to see.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
I'm
like, let's
asking,
do
why do
that.
they call this an affair?
Let's see. So I have it's an event or sequence of events of a specified kind or that has been, well, okay, hold on. That's an affair. Okay. A sexual relationship between two people, one or both of whom are married or in long term relationships with someone else. So
Oh,
that's the
okay.
definition of
So
affair.
yeah, that's what it is. Because I was thinking, man, affair is like some type of business thing or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
that's
the full
okay.
definition there for sure.
Yeah. So if
Mhm.
someone has been cheated on, you help them recover.
Yes. Yes.
So talk to me about what happens like emotionally in somebody. Why do they need recovery?
Yeah, I don't think that people realize the toll that being cheated on takes on you. And so
Mm,
like even when I mentioned I'm on my way to becoming a licensed professional counselor, and the reason why is because when I embarked on this coaching journey, all of the clients that I were interacting with, they had some type of depression or some type of like mental psychiatric
mm,
issues. And I was having to refer them to a therapist. And so, really, just what that does to you emotionally, psychologically, physically, you have loss of appetite, or you can have an increase in appetite because you're trying to find a way to deal with the stress, right?
mm-hmm,
Um, we talk about physical things, lack of sleep, um, stress, hair loss, weight gain, weight
mm,
loss, depression, and then you have other emotions like just ebb and flow from severe sadness to anger, and then it's a mixture of that. And then one minute you're happy, you have obsessions because you're obsessing over the events that have occurred and just the things that you have been giving. And then when we talk about like dealing with narcissistic partners or gaslighting, that also does something to a person as well.
mm-hmm. Wow. So what will cause somebody to cheat on somebody else? Like, what are the main reasons why you're here in your practice?
Hmm. Yeah. So, of course, let me say this first, like there's no excuse, right, to rationalize, cheating on someone.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people just say that they're unhappy, right? And that they have tried for a long time to maybe share with their partner, some of the things that they were unhappy about. They don't feel seen in their relationship. They don't feel heard in their relationship.
Mm.
And so they're able to get this attention from someone else. And it was funny, I just saw a post yesterday that was kind of speaking to that same thing about like how some people say they will go out to a third party or to a mistress, or what would it be, a mister? I don't know.
Mm.
And they, go to that person because what that does is by having that side relationship, it allows them to come back into their marriage to deal with the stressors of their marriage. And
Mm,
but I love how he said that. He was like, it was beautiful because he was just like, but really what you should do is seek counsel. You should seek couples therapy or couples coaching or something like that. So a lot of it has to do with just people feeling like, they don't know where they belong, and they're not feeling appreciated in their current relationship.
okay. So is it something that happens overnight, or does it take some time for this affair to get started?
um I, it definitely takes time. And the
Mm,
reason why I say it takes time is because, everything starts with a thought, right? And so you'll find that a lot of them have kind of played with the thought, toyed with the thought, so much so to where they just make the decision then to
mhm,
act on it. And then if you're talking about, what it looks like getting on websites, going to the gym, if you're married, taking off your ring possibly, and nowadays you can actually keep your ring on. It doesn't matter.
mm,
Um, but no, it does take time. Like I think that there is a possibility where maybe it could happen overnight. But what I have found is for the most part that it's a buildup that kind of leads to it.
gotcha. So it would be something conscious then, right? So the person makes a conscious decision.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, they have a choice because my uncle, he's a pastor, and he always tells this story. He's like for a man that cheated, he was like, it just slipped, I just slipped up, and it just happened, right? And so my uncle was like, you mean to tell me that you slipped out of your house, you slipped into your car, you slipped into a bar, you slipped on your phone number, you slipped into the hotel with her, you slipped out of your, he's like, that's a whole bunch of slipping.
Yeah.
So each of those opportunities, yes, it's a conscious thought that makes you make that decision.
Mm. Yeah, that's really powerful because sometimes people think it just happened
Hmm.
and you have no control over that. So what about control? Is there any type of control somebody may have to stop it, or what would you advise someone who sees himself or herself going that path?
If someone is considering cheating, what I would say is, if even if you're not comfortable going to your partner and communicating with your partner, definitely reaching out to a third party, someone that you can talk with to kind of share what you're struggling with, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the church, a pastor. I always tell my couples too that are choosing to stay together and work it out. A part of my rebuild and trust steps is that they have to find accountability partners. And
Mm-hmm.
typically that has to be someone who is in a flourishing, successful marriage as well. So you also want to make sure that you have healthy partners around, or healthy friends around you that are in healthy relationships, long-term relationships, or marriages, so that when you do start to have thoughts of these things, you have somebody that you can reach out to. Like I said, the first thing I would say is go to your partner, talk to your partner. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're not comfortable enough to do that, always have a third party, someone you can kind of go and talk to.
Hmm. So, but what is the most underlying situation that would push somebody or that can cause someone to start considering that?
Hmm. Um, for men, not feeling respected. For
Mm,
women, not feeling um I'm gonna group all of these together. Not feeling seen, valued, or appreciated,
mm-hmm,
or heard. I kind of group all of those together, but that's what I would say. So for women, I mean for men, definitely it's a respect piece. Like they don't feel like they're being respected as a man in their
mm-hmm,
household by their partner. And then women just don't feel like they're being seen, appreciated, supported, heard, or valued. Or like I said, yeah, heard, having a voice.
mm-hmm. Well, okay. So, have you seen someone that left or cheated on somebody and want to come back.
Hmm.
How is that?
Yeah. Are you referring to like successful, like they were able to be successful in repairing
Maybe
their
not
relationship?
successful or whatever. I don't know. So what's going on in their mind? So when they trying to come back.
Hmm. Well, so um, one of the things that I tell my clients is that if they are choosing to rebuild trust and stay with their partner, there's a couple of things that they have to do, right? First, they have to talk about the offense, right? So I tell them, when you bring up the offense to your partner, you want to pay attention to how your partner responds.
Mm-hmm.
Are they compassionate? Are they truly trying to understand how their offense hurt you, what their offense did to you mentally, emotionally, physically, psychologically, like all those things that I've talked about? Are they
Mm-hmm.
truly trying to gain an understanding for how their actions made you feel? Or are they responding in a defensive way? Well, you weren't
Mm.
showing me attention. Well, you weren't there when I needed you. Well, I tried to tell you this, so I just went and got it from somebody else. So if it's an aggressive kind of response, or is it really coming from a lack of empathy, and they're really trying to understand so that they can make the relationship better? That's going to help you determine if that partner is in fact someone that you can rebuild trust with. So once you get past the understanding part of it, right, then you have to look at their ability. A lot of women, and again, because I particularly work with women, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of women choose to stay with partners who don't have the ability or the capacity to be the partner that they want them to be, they desire
Mm.
for them to be. And so that's the thing too, is that you have to know when to truly walk away, because even though a person may, have that understanding and have that compassion, and shows that first step of being able to rebuild trust with you, the second step is, do they even have the ability to be the partner that you desire, right, long term?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to look at the character again. What are they willing to do? Because to rebuild trust in any relationship takes a lot of work, right? And so what does their character say about them? Are they a person of their word? And really what you do is you look at a person's life. How a person is living their life currently is a good replica of what to expect in a long-term committed relationship. If
Mm.
they're keeping the word to themselves,
Okay.
things like that. And so then again, like finding an accountability partner is a piece to that puzzle as well.
Mm. So you would say that if someone is not keeping their words to themselves, that's a sign they may not keep their word to somebody else in their relationship.
Yeah, because everything starts with self. And
Mm-hmm.
that is what I always tell my clients. So even though we talk about rebuilding trust with a client, I mean, with the partner, my job is to get my client to rebuild that trust within themselves. Because
Mm.
what happens is that when infidelity occurs in a relationship, now you're starting to question everything, because you're like, well, man, I knew the signs and I didn't say anything. Well, when I asked him that one time and he told me, oh no, or she told me, no, you're exaggerating, you're overthinking this. So you don't understand. Or like, even if you say, which a lot of people say this, right? Oh, if somebody cheat on me, I'm done. I won't go back. Nine times
Mm-hmm.
out of 10, all my clients have been that bold to say that, but then they end up in a relationship where their partner cheats on them and they have
Wow.
taken their partner back. And
Mm.
so what happens is, like, every time that you do these type of things where you say, I'm done with you, you cheat on me, I'm not taking you back, and then you take that partner back, what you're doing to yourself subconsciously is your trust is starting to slowly lessen within yourself. So
Mm.
my job is to get my clients to learn how to rebuild trust within themselves. So to go back to your question, yes, how we live our lives, like, we are the sole responsibility of the decisions or the sum total of the outcome of where our lives are now, right? And so how a person lives their lives, if they can keep them their the their word to themselves will typically show how they show up in other relationships.
Hmm. Wow. This is a lot of information. That's powerful. Yeah. Have you been cheated on?
Yes.
Oh,
I
okay. Well, that was really
Yeah.
direct question. I'm sorry. I should have asked you that question a,
It was. You didn't
a little
coerce me or nothing.
differently.
You didn't even. um, yeah. So that is how life after infidelity and me becoming an affair recovery coach came about. Um,
Mm,
I was married myself, and my partner cheated on me several times, and that's where even the tagline came in: removing the shame of your decision to leave or stay,
hmm,
because a lot of the times we get judged. If our partner cheats on us, and we share that story or that experience with the people closest to us, right? And then they find out that we've taken our partner back. You get a lot of side eyes, you get a lot of judgment from your loved ones, and so you just feel so ashamed for making this choice and this decision to try to work it out with somebody that you truly love. And
hmm,
so that was my experience. And I know what it feels like to cry yourself to sleep at night. I know what it feels like to say, man, okay, I'm in my 30s now. Am I ever going to find anybody else? Because now I'm so much older. What does this look like for me? I know what it feels like to be ashamed. I know what it feels like to be guilty. I know what it feels like to feel stupid. I know what it feels
mm,
like to be angry with yourself, right? I know what it feels like to be mad constantly, feeling like you've been abandoned and that you've given your heart to someone and you've given this gift over to someone that you said you are going to spend a lifetime with. And this person has done the ultimate betrayal to you in the
mm,
relationship by going and being with someone else. I know what it feels like to be insecure because you're like, well, why did you go off and cheat on me? Am I not beautiful enough? Am I not, great enough for you? Am I not smart
mm,
enough for you? So all of those things that I experienced just in my healing journey, I know what other women are experiencing right now.
mm. Wow. So that happened early then in your life. You say much older, but you less young, but not much older. Because
Let's see. I was 27.
okay.
We got married. So I guess, yeah. So for a little bit of context, I met my husband when I was 19,
Oh
and
wow.
I walked away from my marriage for good um the year I was turning 32.
Mm,
Yeah. So you have about like 13 years there, but my entire adulthood has been with this particular man. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah. So wow. That should really hurt because from 19, it means yeah, that's man. That qualifies you to do what you're doing now also.
Yeah. 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 A lot of relatability, it's funny. I always tell women when I'm coaching them, like, there's a lot of shame that they have. And so when I'm asking them, hard questions, you can see them like very, gosh, can't think of the word right now, but they're like holding back from
Mm-hmm.
actually sharing their truth. And so, once they get the courage to actually share their truth, I reassure them that that that's normal, right? Because again, a lot of people think that what they're battling with emotionally is different, and I'm telling you, literally every person deals with the same emotions. I actually did a survey asking people to share what their top emotions were. And I got back like 150 responses, and all of the responses were similar as far as like what I just mentioned: the shame, the anger, the sadness, the feelings of abandonment, the depression that they had, the insecurities that they feel. And so I always just tell people, like, your experience of infidelity is different, but how you're feeling emotionally and what you're dealing with the after effect is completely the same. So just remove the
Mm.
shame of how you feel. There's nothing to be ashamed about in that space.
Someone said that it's less painful when one of the partners die than when they cheat on somebody. What do you think?
Ooh, you know, that's hard for me to say because I've never experienced the death of a partner. But I will say that I can see how it could be like the death of a thousand knives, right? Because you're constantly seeing, like, especially if that partner goes on and bees with someone else, right? Like, or if they, decide to build a relationship with their mistress. Like, I have a couple of clients where their husbands have decided to leave them altogether and build a relationship with the mistress, right?
Mm,
So when you are constantly faced with those experiences every day, I can see how, because you're basically having to relive
mm,
that experience and that pain
yeah,
and that hurt every day. Whereas when you have the death of a loved one, like, you're mourning the loss of them, but there's nothing there that can continue to prick at that and make it
yeah,
bigger.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. True. You go to the store, here they are. You go
Yeah.
to the beach, you see them together, and that's
Yep.
every time you keep reminding yourself, yeah, that's. Phew.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because I had a client and that's what she likes to ride bikes. And she was on the trail riding a bike. And who does she run into? Her ex-husband.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's hard, right? And then that was something where we had to jump on a call because we had to deal with that because she wasn't expecting to run into, she's trying to do a self-care thing for herself. And then bam, she runs into him.
Wow.
Hmm.
So, how would you describe the relationship before an affair? The
Hmm.
relationship of two partners. Like, what is the? I know it's legal, but emotionally, what is that connection that ties these two people together that creates this type of emotions after infidelity?
Mm. So are you meaning like the betrayer, like what
I'm
the
saying
mystery?
husband and wife, right?
Okay.
Together. Um, I don't know if I'm expressing this correctly, but what is the type of emotions that ties
Mm.
husband and wife together that when something like that happens, it hurts so much?
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's a good question. Because it's a great question, right? And I think the best way I can describe that for you is to kind of tell you my experience and what my healing journey looked like. Um, so when I left my ex-husband for good, and I started to go back out into the dating scene, right? And then I noticed that everybody I was attracting was my husband, just a different name, right? But
Mm,
the same character traits, the same like value systems and stuff, and
wow.
just how they were showing up in relationships. And so, I could not say that, man, this is how all men operate, right? Because there are people out here in flourishing, happy, healthy relationships. So I knew that there had to be something within me that was attracting this caliber of person.
Mm,
So, what I had to do was I took myself out of the dating scene and I had to do the work. I got with my life coach again and was just kind of telling her, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. And we had already discovered that, I have father issues. And so, a little bit of that story is that when I left my husband, right before I was turning 32, right after I left my husband for good, that probably like 6 months later, I met my dad for the very first time. At,
Oof.
yeah, at 32. And when I met my dad for the very first time, I realized, and I have an episode podcast called This I Married My Father, because I realized that my dad, even though I had no relationship with him, my husband was my dad, the spitting image of my dad. And so when you say things like that about what connects people, a lot of the times, if people haven't done the work and healed themselves, what's going to happen is that traumas are going to attract traumas, right? So
Hmm.
my trauma was rejection from my father and abandonment from my father. So what I did was I connected with someone who could feed off of those insecurities that I had, and knew that I wouldn't go anywhere and he could continue to mistreat me because of my fear of rejection and my fear of abandonment. I would always stay attached and connected to him. And I don't know, what my ex-husband's attachment is, but there is a thing called attachment styles, right?
Hmm.
And so a lot of that has to do too, when couples kind of stay together in toxic situations. I guarantee you, once you peel back the layers and look at both parties, there is a toxic trait that is connecting them, that they both need to heal within themselves in order to
Hmm.
operate in a better partnership.
Wow. So, wow, like attracts like. That
Hmm.
means whew, that's hard. If you
Yeah.
attract certain type of person, it's because there is something in you that is attracting these type of
Hmm.
people.
Absolutely. We say that all the time, like we're mirrors of each other, right? In all of our relationships, we are mirrors of each other. And so in your most intimate spaces, you are a mirror of the person that you're in a relationship with. And then the thing is that if you both have um issues that you haven't resolved or truly healed from, in an intimate relationship, those things are going to surface. Point blank, period.
Mm.
Those things are going to surface. And if you haven't, addressed them, or if you don't have the appropriate coping skills to address them, they can come out in several ways. And a lot of the times they come out in very toxic manners.
This is this is powerful because
Yeah.
here's what happens. You will find people searching for somebody, a soulmate, and they say they don't like anyone they attract.
Yeah.
And it seems like there is something in them they don't like.
About themselves. Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And then,
So that means, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
oh, and I was just going to say, I love that you say that, because that is the biggest revelation. That is my biggest job. My biggest job when I'm working with women is for them to come to acceptance and actually voice that there is something that they don't like about themselves, or that they
Hmm.
have an insecurity. I was on a client call with a client 2 weeks ago, and I asked her that same question, and she you even saw her shoulders relax. She was like,
Wow.
"Wow, I've never said that out loud, but I do feel like I'm ugly. All of the things that he told me, I will never find anybody else. No other man will ever want to be with me." She was like, "I believe those things." And so I said, and that is where we start. That is where we start to do the work, because that is the thing. Like you said, like attracts like. And so if you don't love yourself, then how can you expect
Mm.
anybody else to love you? If you don't respect yourself, how can you expect anybody else to love you? If you don't follow the boundaries and the promises that you put in place for yourself, how in the world can you expect those things from anybody else? And there's a saying that I love, and I tell all my clients: you will allow a person to treat you one step under how you treat yourself. And so when you look at your relationships, look at how people are treating you, and look how you're allowing them to treat you. And then go back to the mirror and say, man, what am I doing to myself? How am I treating myself? Because it's
Mm.
great. It's so beautiful. We just had this same client I'm talking about. We just had our last coaching call on Monday, and she was talking about how she set boundaries and she's cut off a lot of friends, and some of her friends were upset. She talked about this was the first time that her ex has called her phone and she did not answer. And I was like, do you want to know why that is? And she was like, yeah, I'm starting to see my worth. And that's where it starts.
That's powerful. So that
Yeah.
means most of the times what we do is searching ourselves
Mm-hmm.
in somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you know how they used to say that thing about you find a partner who completes you? No, that's old. You're not looking for anyone to complete you. You're looking for somebody to compliment you. You should be complete within yourself. And then
Yeah.
whatever somebody else comes in and does, it's just a compliment to you. Somebody
Okay.
bringing you flowers is a compliment because you bring your own self flowers. Somebody telling you that you're beautiful is just a compliment because you tell yourself you're beautiful every day. You know what I'm saying? Somebody reassuring you and validating your worth is just a compliment to the
Hmm.
things that you are already doing yourself. But a lot of times you'll find that in relationships where that's what's connecting us is because we have this insecurity in this void within ourselves. And when we gravitate towards somebody, they're feeling that, right? They're telling us all the sweet things. Man, you're so beautiful. Man, you're so smart. Man, you're so handsome. Man, you're so talented, right? It feels good because we've never told ourselves those things
Hmm.
and we don't truly believe those things for ourselves. And so that is why you have to have a total mind shift when you have been cheated on because it has done a lot to you to become dependent on that person for your validation, and you're
Hmm.
not going to get any further in that relationship as long as the betrayer knows that you need them around to make you feel like you're worth something.
But there is another type of thought out there
Hmm.
where people are saying that they feel bored in a peaceful relationship.
Oh.
Like that relationship is like it's boring. There is no drama, no other women is calling and whatever. So,
I mean, as far as like, you know, okay. I mean, if you have to say like, it's born because I don't think peaceful relationships just mean that like there's we're all human too, right? And that's the thing. You're going to have conflict in your relationships. It's just about how you approach the conflict in the relationships. Do you communicate properly? Are you both trying to understand what the other person is coming from? So I will say that like even having peace, like peace doesn't mean that, there's just nothing happening. There's no excitement. But, it's a couple of things I think about though with that. Is it's like, if you're saying like, you gotta assess yourself. Like, really, you're looking for arguments and things like that
yeah, because some people they want to see themselves as valued
Mhm.
or their partner as a valued person. They need to have some type of enemy or side somebody to make them feel some type of thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know where that's coming from.
Well, you know what? And everybody's not meant to be married, right? And I think for some people, maybe you should look at that. Are you really designed to be committed to someone in marriage? Because that's a real thing too. Like I feel like I have enough understanding to understand like not everybody desires marriage and not everybody is fit for marriage. And
Okay.
so I think I would even start there, like, okay, because I don't know, and maybe you can share your thoughts on this, but I feel like if you are in fact with the right person, you will never lack fulfillment in that relationship, even when there are times where, there's nothing. It's funny. I had a friend and she was telling me that her husband came to her and was like, "Man, what's going on with us? We haven't argued in a minute, you know?" And but they were both like,
They
"What?"
miss.
You know? But it was so funny too because they were also so busy building their dream.
Okay.
And that is another thing that I always say too is if you are bored in a relationship, I would have you kind of go back to the drawing board and look at, are you actually in a relationship with this person, or are y'all just cohabitating together?
Mm.
Because even in relationships, there should be some form of partnership, right? Because there's a difference between support and partnership, which I
Yeah.
believe. It's a difference between support and partnership. So are y'all in this situation just supporting each other financially? Or are y'all actually in a partnership where y'all are working towards a common goal, or like y'all are working on building a legacy, leaving a legacy for kids or whatever? And I think too, like a lot of people that are bored is because y'all aren't doing anything to
Mm.
build together. And that
Yeah.
is really the purpose of coming together in a relationship, is to multiply it. And so if it's boring, that means that y'all aren't doing any work. Y'all aren't tilling the ground and doing what the purpose of being in a relationship is for.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I don't know. Like, you can share your thoughts. I
Yeah,
don't
no, that's
know.
good. You gotta be, yeah, it has to be a partnership. You gotta be building something together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what happens sometimes is the childhood of a person really affect their relationship
Hmm.
with their partners, I believe. The way they grew up, if sometimes they even miss the negative parts.
Yeah.
And if they can find that in the relationship, they don't feel like that's the right place for them.
Hmm.
Even if that makes them cry.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I like, even when I mentioned earlier, whatever things you haven't healed from or worked on, they're going to resurface in a
Mm-hmm.
committed relationship. So, like what you're saying, any of the childhood connections and the childhood traumas that you haven't truly healed from, because you may get in that relationship and be like, oh, this a vibe, we ain't arguing, we ain't fussing, we ain't fighting. And then, as time progress, that same thing that attracted you to that person, now it's becoming unattractive, because
Yeah.
you're looking for that trauma that you're so used to. And so that is why I always say it's important for all of us to come into relationships truly healed and whole. And that doesn't mean that everything is healed and whole, but I think that you need to have some awareness of, what your weaknesses are, and when
Mm-hmm.
they start to show up, how you can navigate those properly.
Mm. Wow. Do you want to talk a little more about your dad?
Hey, it's up to you. What do you want me to share? Because I think that's powerful too, right? But yeah, I'm here for it.
Yes. So what happened? Why did he leave? And like 32,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you were
32.
not in the same city, same state.
Okay, so you're gonna be like, wow. So let me tell you a little bit. So I think the last time I saw my dad may have been like 5 or 6. It was where I was young enough to where I couldn't really remember.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't for a very long time, because I think he was trying to like take me out of my aunt's yard without consent from an adult. And so that was the last time that I saw him. And um I love my mom to death. I remember when she first got on Facebook, she always told me that I had an older brother. So she would always look for my brother on Facebook. When she first got on Facebook, she must have emailed like so many Roberts, because she knew my brother was a junior. He was named after my dad. So she was looking for him. She had no luck, so she just gave up. Well, my ex-husband, he and I were dating at the time. And my thought was that I want to find my dad before I ever have kids, because I want to know that other part of where I come from. So my ex-husband, again, we were just boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. He actually found my dad.
Mm.
And he was like, "Hey, I have the phone number and everything. Just say the word and I'll reach out." Well, my dad was only 45 minutes away from where I live now.
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Wow.
And so, I wasn't ready for it. So didn't do anything with that, right? Well, then, and actually, I met my dad a year after connecting with him, because his fiance found my mom on Facebook, and
Hmm.
she had told him, "Hey, I want him to have a relationship with his kids before we get married." So we actually, and he was still in that same spot, 45 minutes away from me, and he's still to this day 45 minutes away from me. And we communicated on the phone for like a year, and he just never made any attempt to connect with me and see me or anything like that.
Hmm.
So I finally made it. He stood me up 3 times when we were supposed to meet for the very first time. He stood me up 3 times. So that last time, when we finally had the opportunity to meet face to face, um, I like the first time we were going to meet, I had this long list of questions, right? Why weren't you there? Why didn't you look for me? Why did you leave me? But then that first time that I met him, I was in a different space in my healing journey. And I literally just looked him in his face and I was like, before we sit down and eat, I just want to let you know, I've been through a lot. I've been through a divorce that almost broke me. And I said, so moving forward, here's what I expect from you as a father. And I laid out my list of my expectations. And I said, if you're able to follow through with that, then I'm willing to have a relationship with you. And I said, and if you're not willing to follow through with that, we can break bread tonight, and then we can both go on about our day-to-day lives.
Hmm.
And he tried for a little bit to follow through with that, but it didn't work. And so much so this year, I have actually made the decision that I'm not going to have a relationship with him.
Hmm.
But it was just interesting to see some of the common characteristics of how he treats his current partner, and how my ex-husband treated me, and what I accepted, and the women that he was attracting. It was just a beautiful thing to see, and me to know, okay, yeah, I needed to heal that little girl, because that little
Wow.
girl was looking for her father, essentially, in her husband.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of people will get healed from this conversation here.
Yeah, yeah. And I found my brother through that. So my brother and I have a beautiful relationship.
Wow.
We actually went to the same high school together,
You went
which
to
was
the same high school
as
and
my
you didn't
brother.
know each other.
Nope. Because so funny story. Um, my mom knew that my brother was a junior. Well, my dad also didn't have a relationship with my brother, so my brother's mom changed his last name. So at the time, my mom knew his last name to be the last name of my dad's. So even at school, I never would have connected the dots that he was my brother, because we always thought that he had the last name of my dad. And then my brother said he was looking through some birth certificates for my dad or something, and he saw my name on some type of government thing, and he was like, and he saw that, but he never knew where to start to find me. So that has been the most beautiful thing that has come out of this. Our families share Thanksgiving together. My brother's family and my family, we've shared Thanksgiving together ever since we've connected, and it's just been a beautiful experience.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what?
That
I
makes me happy.
mean, you this you didn't choose that. This has chosen you. The
You think
relationship. Yeah,
so?
because it's not just about your relationship with your husband. It's the
Yeah.
relationship with your brother, your
Mhm.
dad, and all of these things, you connect them all together. It makes
Yeah.
you a powerhouse, you know?
Yeah. And I'm gonna give you one more.
Yeah.
My mom was cheated on in her marriage, and my
Mm.
grandmother was cheated on by my grandfather.
Oh, wow.
And so I remember the day that I said I was leaving my husband for good. Because that's a whole nother story about how many times I went back. But I remember calling my mom and saying, "Hey, I have a desire to have a daughter one day. And this generational curse has to stop with me." Because I saw it in my mom's marriage. My mom saw it in her parents' marriage, this infidelity, right? And most of my aunts have been cheated on. So
Mm.
there's this thing, there's
Yeah.
this connection. And so it's very important for me to speak out about these things and break that curse within my family. But
Mm,
even just letting people know that, even when we talk about it's possible, it is possible to leave a marriage and still be happy and still flourish and still
yeah.
find that future relationship, that future marriage, and to build the life of your dreams and the life that you desire. All of those things are possible. You just got to have the courage to take that first step.
Man, man, man. That's wow. Man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you're out there right now helping women
Mhm.
to
Yes.
heal.
Yes. Yes. I'm so excited about it too. Like that makes my heart happy. Like every time I get off of a call with a woman and just to see where she is and to see the growth that she's had. Like I think my most recent call was a client, prospective client. She asked me, will I be able to smile again? And, that touched my heart. And I
Yeah.
told her, I told her my story. I was diagnosed with depression when I was coming
Mm,
through this. I got down to a size 0 when I was going through this.
wow.
Um, yeah, I wanted to get my hair locked up, which, by the grace of God, is locked up now. But the first time that I wanted to get it locked up, I couldn't because I was balding. My hair was falling.
Mm,
So
wow.
I share those stories with women to let them know that just look at me, just imagine me, 75 pounds lighter, 50 pounds lighter. Cause like I said, I was a size 0, not eating, not sleeping, still
Wow.
going to the gym, needing to do something to keep my mind, you know, insane, just to keep my sanity. And so I can truly relate to women when they talk about there's this dark cloud over them every single day. They don't know if they'll ever be happy again. They're noticing that their anger is now being trickled onto their kids because they're so angry that now
Mm,
it's reflecting onto their children, right? And even for women who are afraid to leave a marriage, a toxic marriage, because they don't want to put their kids through that. 9 times out of 10, your kids are feeling the unhealthiness with you guys staying
yes.
together. So a lot of people think they're doing their kids a service by staying. You're not doing your kids a
Mm-hmm.
service by staying. And 98% of your kids already know that the partner is being unfaithful. I can tell you so many clients who have told me that their kids have come up to them and said, Mom, why are you staying in this because you're unhappy? Mom, Dad, like some people have even told me their children were the one who came to them and told them, hey, Dad's cheating on you,
Wow.
So you have to choose you. Take that first step because it really is possible.
Wow. So, and one thing is that when somebody cheats on somebody else, it's not only on that person. Your dad cheated on you too.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, the person cheats on the children too. It's
Yeah,
not
I
just
like that.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know, you cheat on your children because you go out there and get other children, other people's.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole circle. That's the reason why when that happens with someone, it tends to repeat because it's something that comes from the lineage of from the father to the children, and it tends to repeat because, and when the father leaves, it's not just a cheating on your mom, but also on you.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's
feel
good. You know
cheated
what?
on
I've
too.
never looked at that like that way, but
Yeah.
you are so right. Like that's good. I'm gonna start using that now.
Yeah. So I've been cheated on by the two most important men in my life, you would say. First,
Hmm.
my dad, and second, my in your case.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a real thing, and think about how many people that has happened to. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you blew my mind with that. That's good.
Wow. You were powerful. Your story needs to go out there. More people need to hear your story, you know?
Yeah.
So you got to be fearless out there because it's like someone is in a house that's burning. You got to
Mhm.
raise your voice higher so that more people can hear you
Thank you.
because
I really.
it's a real thing. Do you know
Mhm.
how many people are 45 minutes away from their dad? They don't even know if that person even exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and they're suffering from that, right?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's good. That's good. So, if you have an advice for somebody right now that has this thought of a partner that maybe they are being cheated on, what would it be?
I was just asked this question on another episode, and I would say, it's not anything that's profound, but if you have an inkling in your heart, your soul, your spirit, that your partner is cheating or that something is off, something is not right, follow your intuition. Your intuition never guides you wrong. And
Mm,
again, that's where we talk about rebuilding that trust because most women will say, man, I knew something was off and I should have followed my first mind, but I just kind of told myself I was tripping and all that type of stuff. And that's the thing. Like when you don't learn to trust your intuition, it'll start to quiet. And then you'll learn to just constantly doubt it every single time that something comes up. So I would just say that if you are in fact questioning that, trust your intuition. Go to your partner, not in an aggressive tone, and when you go to your partner, you don't use the terms you. Something is wrong because you ain't doing this and you ain't doing this and you ain't doing this, right? When you go to your partner, you want to use I, right? Because it's
okay.
putting the responsibility on you and it's not coming off as aggressive. So, what you could say is like, hey, I've been feeling like something is off in our relationship. I've been feeling like, you haven't really been kind of communicating a lot. And I've been, feeling like, you just kind of want to use the I. I don't really know like a good
Okay.
example that I
Okay.
can think of something, but you just want to say hey,
Yeah.
I felt this way, when you didn't come home, at the time that you said you were. And I just want to know, and allow them to respond. And again, you're going to pay attention to their response. So I always tell people you address the offense, but you address the offense by saying I, and how you're receiving that offense and how you're taking on that offense. And then you pay attention to how that person responds. If that person is aggressive and if that person is blaming you, then that's probably a buildup that there's some gaslighting there and they're
Mm,
not being truthful and they're trying to cover something up. But if they are truly understanding and, they might respond in a way of saying, hey, I'm sorry that that made you feel this way, but here's what I really meant when I said that. Here's what I really meant when I did this. How can I change that to where you don't feel that type of way? So that's essentially what I would say. And I would even say I give those tips. So I have a 49-day devotional coming out at the beginning of the year, which I'm super excited about. It's called Healing the Heart from Infidelity. And I actually give steps on how to navigate those type of situations too, but of course through scriptures and things like that.
okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have to thank you for being on the show today because that was amazing. That's powerful.
Thank you for having me. I'm so
Yes.
excited.
You're helping a lot of people here, right?
And
So,
yes.
what else? Any last word you want to share with the people?
Um, Again, I can't say this enough. If you have been cheated on, remove the shame that you feel from being cheated on. Remove the shame from being angry. Remove the shame from going back when you said that you weren't going to go back. Remove the shame from not trusting yourself. Remove the shame for leaving longer than what you said you would, and forgive yourself because that was new territory for you. You didn't know how to navigate it. Forgive yourself so that you can now start to move on and create the life of your dreams because it's
Excellent.
possible.
It's possible, yes.
It's possible.
So, how can people find you?
Yes. So you can go on my website, www.lifeafterinfidelity.net, or you can find me at life underscore after underscore infidelity on both TikTok and Instagram. And yeah, just shoot me a DM, or you can shoot me an email at affairrecoverycoach at gmail.com.
Excellent. I'll have a link of your Instagram under the video there so that they can just click and reach out to you if
Yeah,
somebody needs help.
absolutely. Yes, yes. And if you want to do
Powerful.
a free 15-minute discovery call, just go to my Instagram page. And then in my bio, there's a link for you to do a free 15-minute discovery call to even
Okay.
see if we would fit together. So, absolutely.
All right. Amazing. Well, thank you again for coming on the show today, Brianna. That was a blessing, powerful story. I wish someday you can make a movie with all that story you have. And
Hey, that's in the plans because you know how David got us writing out our goals now. So, like, that's one of my crazy faith goals is that.
yeah, and now a movie, your dad, your brother, Jesus, your brother, your husband. You are blessed, okay? You are blessed and highly favored. All right, so everybody, well, thank you very much for watching the video today. It was amazing being with Briaina today. And just leave a comment and subscribe to the channel, and we'll come back for more. Thank you.